Hey everyone, I'm your teacher. We didn't get to meet last week on Wednesday because, as you know, ESCT had a water main break and they closed the building. So all of the classes in ESCT were canceled on Wednesday. And of course, we missed Monday because it was a holiday, and that means we're behind. So that's why I'm doing the video, why I want you to watch this at home. I'm sorry it's taken so late. If you read my announcement previously, I said I'd try to get it up on Friday. I just couldn't. I had too many other things happening. It started out that way this semester. In any case, you can see from the screen, I want us to talk about the syllabus a little bit, and we'll go over some points. I'm not going to read it word for word. And then I'm going to make a second video with some other stuff, work that we would have done already. So let me just jump in here and let's get started. You can see my office, 2210A. Now there is a classroom on the second floor in ESCT 2210. That's a classroom. I think it's a classroom. In any case, my office is 2210A. I'm on the east side of the building. Let's go down to the office hours. You can see on Monday and Wednesday, I should be there from 2 to 3:30 before our class begins. So if you need to see me, that might be convenient. Now at 5 o'clock, I've got another class. I could talk to you a minute after class, but I've got to get to my second class after that. So please keep all of that in mind. Let's go back up here. Now, as far as coming to see me, I really want you to if you're having a problem. Any issue that's interfering with your performance, that's making it hard for you in some way, let me know. I'm the first person you should talk to. And I don't mind if you're complaining, because, heck, my wife complains at me all the time. Yeah, you got to be prepared for my wife jokes this semester. And you better laugh too, right? Although I guess maybe they're not all be that funny. We can ask her. She'll probably say no. In any case, yeah, I do want you to pass this class. And if there's something that's bothering you about the way the class is going, come and let me know so we can try to fix it. There's never any negative repercussion as far as your grade goes for coming to, tell me something you don't like. No, I would never let that affect your grade in any way whatsoever. And I can't help you if you don't talk to me. So I'm the first person you should talk to, and we'll try to get to the bottom of any issues you may be having and help you get through them. Now, my telephone, I still don't have a telephone in my new office. That is a new office. As you know, or probably know, they're doing all this construction. And at this stage, teachers are having to abandon their old offices. My old office was, 15 years at least, maybe longer. I don't like to think about it. But we had to get out by the end of the semester, fall semester. And so, because all those offices eventually are going to be wiped out. Now they're telling us, well, you could have actually stayed until spring break. The construction updates are kind of fluid. You never know what's going to happen. But in any case, I'm in a new office. Now, I share that office with another professor. And so far, I don't have a name tag on the door. I've submitted a ticket to get maintenance to give me a name tag. And I don't have a telephone in that office. Now, if you leave I didn't think of this when I made the syllabus, but if you leave a message at my old number, it'll still show up in my Outlook mail, so I can actually listen to it in Outlook mail. And hopefully I'll get a telephone this week. I should have put my old number in there. Let me just tell you what it is. 817 area code, 515-3347. That's 817 area code, 515-3347. So if you leave a message, I think I will actually get it, even though I don't have the telephone in the office at this time. Now, email. Most of you, since you're Comp 2, you've been here already for Comp 1, most likely. Maybe not all of you. And you know, last semester, we had Gmail. The my.tcc.edu address was attached to a Gmail account. And I kind of liked it. I think it worked well. We'd had it for years and years and years and years. And it worked really good, I thought, for student communication. Well, for whatever reason, the higher-ups at TCC decided that we would dump Gmail and switch everything to Microsoft. So now this address is attached to Outlook. And I think probably most of you know that. When the change first happened in the middle of last semester, it was a mess. Emails were not getting put into Outlook. All kinds of things happened. And finally, they kind of got their act together. So I think I'm getting the emails. So that's a good place to email me. Also, of course, as it says here in this paragraph, you can use Canvas Inbox. And again, because most of you have been here before, you know where to find Canvas Inbox. I've got some emails right now I need to answer, but I haven't gotten to them yet. But I will be. So if you need to get in touch with me, Canvas Inbox is good, and the other address is good. Now, of course, you all know, because all the instructors have to mention this to their students, that you're not supposed to use your personal email, like Hotmail, Gmail, whatever your personal address is. And that's for legal reasons having to do with FERPA. That's the federal law about student privacy. Some of you have heard of it and you know what it's about. But in any case, they even tell us that we're not supposed to answer emails that come from a student's personal email account. So please use the my.tcc.edu address for sending email. Okay? I think most of you know that. Now, going down to the English department office and the dean's office, he's the dean of liberal arts, Jerry Coates, their offices are still in the numbers indicated below, ESEC 2130 and 2109. ESEE 2109, the E-wing. They were also supposed to move, and they've pretty much cleared out their offices, but then they were given a reprieve at the last minute, and supposedly they'll be able to stay in those offices till spring break. I have a feeling that construction schedule will probably slip to the end of the semester. Who knows? But for now, anyway, if you need to go see the dean or the chair, those are the offices where you can go. Okay. Now, by the way, on back to the office hours, you notice on Friday I have club meetings. I'm the sponsor of the photography club and the poetry club. And if you'd like to join, just let me know. We have a lot of fun in those clubs. Photography, for example, we go on lots of field trips. Downtown Dallas, downtown Fort Worth, uptown Dallas, University Park. We've gone to the stockyards. We've gone to Sundance Square. These are in Fort Worth. We've been to Dinosaur State Park, Cleburne State Park, Mineral Wells State Park. We go where students want to go, and we have usually a good time. That's the whole point, is to have a good time. And we do photography as well, but mainly to have fun. So feel free to join the club. You don't have to have fancy equipment. I would say a majority of students just use their phones, and phones these days, they take pretty darn good pictures. We also have a couple of more expensive cameras that members of the club can check out and use to learn how to use, fancier cameras. And some students and the club president and I too, we have some DSLRs, and we can help you learn how to use them if you're so inclined. So, come to the clubs, join the clubs. The photography club meets Fridays at noon. The poetry club meets Fridays at 1 o'clock. Now, I've just applied for rooms. We haven't been approved yet. As soon as we get approval for rooms, we'll start having meetings this semester. So anyway, if you want to join, just let me know, and I'll get you signed up. All right, let's go on here to this section. As it says there, course description, English 1302 is a continuation of English 1301. Only in this class, we only write about literature. That's it. And we'll be starting with short stories, as you can see down under student learning outcomes, number 1. We're going to start with short stories. Actually, I've got that out of order. Then we're going to do some drama and end the semester with poetry. Some teachers kind of mix those all three up and do them at the same time. I don't like to. I want to keep them separate. So that's why you were assigned to read Soldier's Home. And hopefully everyone will have read it for Monday and be ready to go with it. And taken the quiz, by the way. In any case, you'll be writing about literature. Let's just go over some of these points a little bit. I'm not going to necessarily read them. Let me sip some water. I think I need it. Oh, that's good. A lot better. As you can see, on point number 2, you critically think utilizing evidence from literary texts, et cetera, et cetera. Again, I don't think we need to read all this. Number 3, let's go to just the lettered points under number 3. Yeah, we're going to be working with thesis statements, particularly essay 1, which will be on short stories, and I'll have more to say about that soon. And all of you probably by now should know what a thesis is, but if not, we're going to work on it some more. Logical organization and coherence, now that works on the overall essay level, but I focus a lot on logic and coherence on the paragraph level. In fact, if I have time this evening, I'm going to make another video, hopefully not so long as this one, talking about paragraph organization, logic, and coherence. And I put a lot of weight on that in your essays. The paragraph is the basic unit of essay writing, actually. Okay, letter C, specific appropriate support from primary. Those are the actual works of literature. And secondary. Secondary are the critics talking about the literature, and that's particularly going to be relevant when we get to the research paper. Let's go down to number 4. Of course, all of you, probably multiple times, high school, maybe even middle school, have talked about the writing process. And by that, you know what we mean. Pre-writing, brainstorming, all that stuff you do before you actually start writing. And then after you write, maybe making an outline, a rough draft, editing those, making them better, etc. That process is really good, and a lot of students kind of skip. And they just want to go right to the finish, maybe an hour before the paper's due. That doesn't usually work so good. Anyway, we'll be talking about that stuff. Let's go to letter C. Yeah, a lot of the stuff we're going to read may, in fact, I'm sure it will have vocabulary that you're not familiar with. These days, college students, and I'm talking about not just community college, but four-year colleges, universities like Harvard, wherever, Stanford, students don't know enough vocabulary. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I don't blame the students. One is K through 12 education doesn't demand enough high standards from students in that regard. The other one is everyone's on their screens all the time, doing social media, shopping, whatever, and that doesn't lend itself to learning good vocabulary, useful vocabulary, etc. So one of the things I want you to keep in mind this semester, if you don't know something, look it up. You've got that powerful computer, so powerful compared to having no computer, which is what I grew up with, right in your hand. So you can look up words so easily. So I'm requiring you to look up words. Now, I probably will be giving you, maybe pop-up vocabulary quiz from time to time. Some of the stories are going to have quite a bit of vocabulary, particularly when we get to William Faulkner, which we'll be doing in a week or so. And when we get to Nathaniel Hawthorne, lots of vocabulary in the stuff we're going to read. Also, you can see there in letter C, sentence skills, grammar stuff, comma splices. You may know what comma splices are. Maybe your teacher in Comp 1 or your teacher in high school tried to work on those issues. But just like with vocabulary, students are lacking in grammar. mastery. They're just lacking. And, the best thing you can do is to just put your nose to the grindstone, learn it bit by bit, and we'll be doing some of it during these 15, 16 weeks. I guess it's only 15 now. If you look at letter D, you can see it references the research paper we're going to need to do. That's a state requirement. I am a state employee. Community colleges like Tarrant County College, they get a lot of their funding from the state, and so they are a state affiliated institution. We have to follow state rules set by the legislature and the administrators, whoever. So they require Comp 2 students to do a research paper. But don't worry. First of all, it's not going to be due till, last week or two of April. Okay, that's number one. We're going to have a lot of time to work on it, over a couple months, almost a couple months. And it's only going to be 3 to 5 pages, which is not a long research paper. So this is something you can handle. And we'll have a lot of preparatory stuff, looking at examples. And of course, with research papers, as you can see in letter H, we're going to be using MLA to document our sources. Most of you are familiar to some degree with MLA. Well, you're going to learn it real good, because we're going to learn it real good together. Don't worry if you've forgotten or you never learned it or whatever. We're going to start from the ground up, and we'll have a number of weeks to work on it bit by bit with quizzes, etc. So, yeah, we'll be doing MLA from the ground up. You can see in letter G, we want to be able to use summaries and paraphrases and direct quotations smoothly and grammatically. Students often have trouble with this in their essays in Comp 1 and 2. So that's something we'll be working at from the get-go when we start looking at sample essays, for example. Let's go to books. I know many of you are disappointed that you don't get to spend $100 or so on books. I'm sorry. No, not. That we don't need any books. There's tons of stuff online. I've got all that stuff in shared files, which you've seen. We can be more flexible, and there's all kinds of stuff with MLA online. So we just don't need books. So don't worry about it. Let's keep going. Canvas. Be sure you check Canvas before every class. That is, you can see it's a requirement. I think most of you do it anyway. But, I'm going to be posting homework in the announcements. And sometimes, even though I'll try to tell you in class what your homework is, I'll think of something that I didn't think of in class and I want to add it. You're going to be taking a quiz probably every single class. There'll be a quiz to do, just like the quiz you took on Soldier's Home. So you need to get into Canvas frequently. And I think most of you do that anyway. You can see the grading policy down below that. There's 6 essays. Now you'll notice below the little chart there, it says, please remember that you have to complete all 6 essays in order to pass the class. If, for example, you don't turn in essay 1, it's only 9%. Yeah, you might have a passing average numerically by the end of the semester with all the other essays and such. But you're not going to pass the class. You have to turn in each of the essays. So keep that in mind. You can't get out of any. I have students, for example, who they're late doing essay 1, and then we're moving forward, and they're moving forward in their other classes, and it's hard to go back and get in the swing of essay 1, and sometimes it goes to the end of the semester. They haven't given me the paper, and I've had students fail the class. Don't you be one of those students. Be sure you get those essays in. Now, I do want you to get them in on time. As it says there below in this paragraph, you must turn in your essays by their... Oh, before we get to that, since we're looking at that chart, the reading and MLA and other quizzes. Okay, yeah, we're going to be taking MLA quizzes, reading quizzes like the one you had on Soldier's Home. That's 24% of your grade. That's a big chunk. If you kind of blow those off, and yes, I've had students kind of blow them off. They don't read the story. They just take the quiz really fast, and they get 30s and 40s, sometimes a 50 or maybe a 0. They didn't take it at all. You can tell with that percentage, it's going to really pull your grade down, and it does. On the other hand, the quizzes, are not that hard, really. You can have the story or the poem or the play open in one tab and have the quiz open in another, and you'll probably do pretty good. So it can really pull up your grade. If you get a string of hundreds and 90s and stuff like that, it's going to help your overall grade. So take these quizzes seriously. It says there, we'll go back down to that paragraph. You need to turn in your essays by their due dates. Okay. Hold on for a second. I'm going to check this recording, make sure it's doing what I think it's doing. Yes, it is. We're 20 minutes in. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep that little box open up there. You can't see well, maybe you can see the little box. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe it's distracting. Let's get rid of the little box in case you guys can see it. I'll just exit out down there. Okay. I click OK. I don't know if you saw that little notice I got. Turn them in by their due dates. I'll penalize a late paper 1 letter grade if it isn't turned in by the due date, and then an additional letter grade for each week the paper is late. That's fairly harsh. Do I want to do that? No, I don't. I don't want to take points off of student papers because there may already be enough points taken off. I don't want you to fail these papers. I want each one of you to pass this class. That's sincere. I don't want to fail anybody. You need to get this requirement out of the way so you can take the classes you want to take, right? So, yeah, in the past I've gone a little soft on that business about penalizing late papers. So just turn in your essays by their due dates. Don't drag it out. Okay, everyone's going to do that. Now, when you turn in the essay, I want you to turn in a hard copy to me, printed copy, and also submit a copy to Canvas. Of course, Canvas, I've got it set up to send your paper to turnitin.com. You guys have been around the block here at TCC and in high school where they use Turnitin a lot of the time. Most of you know what it is. It's a plagiarism checker. And they got gazillions. They've been around 25 years or so. They literally have tens of millions of papers in their database. And they compare your paper to the database. And if they find sentences or paragraphs that match, it's a strong indication of possible plagiarism. And then teachers swing into action, supposedly. They should, and check it out. Now they know, if you're quoting, let's say Hemingway, and 20 other people or 100 other people have the same quote in their papers over the past 25 years, well, teachers will know that's a quote from Hemingway. You're going to say so anyway in the paper if you write on that story. So they know that's not plagiarism in that case. And they're not going to ding you for that. Don't worry about that. Teachers typically know. I feel like I know when it's plagiarism, when it's not. So in any case, you need those 2 copies. If you look in the middle of the paragraph, it says you will not get credit for any essay that isn't uploaded into Turnitin through Canvas. No exceptions. So if your essay is not there, you'll get a 0. It's got to be there because I check every paper for plagiarism as I'm going through. Since we're talking about plagiarism, let's maybe take a detour and talk more about it. So I'm going to go down to the plagiarism paragraph down here. We'll come back and talk about extra credit. Okay, I think I'm going to read some of this, and let me sip some more water before I do. Okay, excuse me. All right. Plagiarism is cheating. It is using the exact words, or even just the ideas of others in a way such that a reader cannot distinguish them from your own right. Hey, you know what? We need to take another detour. It's been a long day here today already, Saturday, that I'm recording this. I forgot to pronounce my name. Some of you may not know how to pronounce it. So let's just get that out of the way. You saw how it was spelled, S-A-A-R-I. So that's Mr. Sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Sorry. Yes, indeed I am. Okay, so just thought I'd get that in while I remembered it. Okay, let's continue. Even if you put someone else's ideas into your own words, it's still considered plagiarism if you don't tell your reader that the ideas belong to someone else. So yeah, I get students who I've caught for plagiarism, and they say, but I changed it to my own words. No, it's in the syllabus, and we talk about it anyway, and your Comp 1 teacher and your high school teacher and your middle school teacher should have talked about that too. It can be in your own words, but if it reflects the ideas that you have taken from another source, it's plagiarism unless you say where you got it from, where you got the ideas from. So it doesn't have to be exact words. Let me continue reading where we left off. In addition, plagiarism includes taking exact words or ideas from any website, any at all, without telling your reader that you took these ideas or words from this website. Just because something is on the web doesn't mean you can use it without telling the reader where you got it from. A reader must be able to distinguish your words and ideas from the words and ideas of others at all times. There's no middle ground. Anything else is cheating and dishonest. For example, if you take anything at all from a site like eNotes.com or whatever they're calling it today, or 123 Help Me or Grade Saver, Cliff Notes, Spark Notes, Elite Skills, Helium.com, any of those. And again, some of them have changed their names by now. Or from Wikipedia or any other site, you must tell me using the MLA format for documentation. Anything means exactly that, anything that you take. Now, what will happen if you get caught plagiarizing? If you plagiarize, you will receive a 0 on your essay and you won't have the opportunity to rewrite it. That's TCC policy. That's not my policy. They tell us that every semester. In addition, I'm supposed to submit a report with your plagiarism to the student conduct officer, who will put a note in your file, your permanent file. And they are likely to call you in to give you a stern talking to. You don't want any of that. But the bad thing is you might fail the class. Now, in previous decades, like when I was in school, you don't want to know how many decades? A long time. They would expel you. That's right, expel you from the university for plagiarism. So they've softened it quite a lot over the many intervening years. But take that research paper, for example. Was it 24, 25%? Let's go look. 25% on the research paper, OMG. And that's coming in near the end of the semester. So just imagine, you've been in the semester, you've been in the class all semester doing the work, and things get a little busy. Maybe you got put on a double shift. If you're working, maybe you had a car accident, which happens to students, unfortunately. And you just feel like you can't get it done, so you copy stuff. Well, if I catch you for that research paper, for example, 25% of your grade, and you get a 0, are you going to pass the class? Probably not. Probably not. And what a waste. So, if you do have something that's interfering with you turning in an essay, like getting sick, the flu, or something else, car accident, house burned down, all of these things have happened to my students. Getting kicked out of the house, that's happened to a number of my students just in the past couple of years. Having family problems at home and mom and dad say, get out. And it's a terrible thing to happen, and it'll mess you up. Some of you know, it's probably happened to some of you. You should talk to me. I don't want to fail you. I'm going to work with you so that you can succeed and get your work in. So, yeah, there's no need. If something comes up, you can still get your work in. Maybe it'll be late, but I probably wouldn't take any points off or anything, and we can just work it out. I can't say that strongly enough. That's not an excuse, for plagiarism if you're sick or something or have other problem. Okay. And it says there at the end, if you have a question about plagiarism, please ask me about it before you turn in the paper. So you ask me ahead of time, I can say, yeah, that's plagiarism. Fix it. But because you asked me and the paper wasn't due yet or you didn't turn it in yet, it's not going to give you a 0. Now, I may see some things I don't like, but you're not going to get a 0. Now, on Essay 1, I think in the instructions, I'm going to say, don't use any website information. Don't go to the internet or any other type of information. Just you and the story. But students ignore that sometimes. So if you do ignore it, you need to tell me where you got the material, because if I find you get the material from SparkNotes and I find it there and you haven't told me, you'll get a 0. Now, if you tell me sparknotes.com says blah, 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 you're safe. You're not getting a 0. Now, I may say, I told you not to go to the website. Okay, don't do that. But you haven't got a 0. You haven't failed that paper. You haven't plagiarized. Let's go down to the Chat GPT business. Oh my God, we're in a world of hurt with all these AIs. And as it says in bold, do not use Chat GPT or any other AI for writing your essays or anything else for a class. Anything. This restriction includes Grammarly. A lot of students go to Grammarly to fix their grammar. And that's, they got an AI there. Google Translate, Bard, or other ones. They always come up with new ones. There's one, I think there's one called Copilot now on one of the search engines. I'm not sure. I want to see your work. I do not want to see a computer's work. I don't want to see what some algorithm, piece of software can spit out. I want your work. I don't want you to go to Grammarly and fix your sentence errors. I want to see the errors you are making. Now, even if you're a second language learner, English learner, I used to teach ESL, for example, when I was just got out of graduate school. I taught ESL for a number of years. I have a lot of experience with it. I understand the kind of things that foreign students, English language learners go through, second language learners. And you can still pass the class even if you're making errors because English is not your first language. You can still put together a paragraph even if there's issues with your sentences. So keep that in mind. There's no need to fancy up your sentences. And that's true for our native speakers of English. English is your first language. Many, many students, as I mentioned previously, are having issues with grammar these days for all the reasons we mentioned. You can still pass the class. So do not use Grammarly. Don't use any of these others. If you do, you're going to get a 0. Let me continue reading. While these AIs can be useful in many contexts, I want to see your work, your writing, exclusively. Using these AIs amounts to academic dishonesty and is a form of plagiarism. Now, I know some teachers, they don't have that feeling. They try to incorporate AI and get their students to use it in one way or another. I'm not one of those teachers. So in my class, don't use it. If I detect, I'm reading now, if I detect your use of any of these AIs in your writing, you will get a 0 on the assignment, just as if you had committed traditional plagiarism. In this class, there is no middle ground. Even partial use of an AI will result in a 0 on your paper. Please note that these AIs often get facts and details wrong. Now, this is an interesting thing, actually. Let me continue reading, and then I'll jump in. Sometimes they make up quotes. Yes, the AIs make up quotes. Sometimes they make up characters when this is, writing about literature, in stories and poems. Listen, the stuff we're reading, do you think I don't have them pretty much memorized? Yes, I do. If you put in a quote that's not in the story or the poem or whatever, am I going to know? Instantly, I will know. We're going to do this play called The Doll's House, later on in the semester. And some guy was writing about it in one of my classes, and the AI made up characters that weren't in the play, and quotes. The student hadn't read the play. The student didn't even know it because the student hadn't read the play. They just had ChatGPT do the essay. They put the essay prompt into it and spit out an essay, and they used it without even thinking. So this is a danger. It's a real danger. The people who create the AIs, for example, ChatGPT is created by a company called, I think it's called OpenAI, something like that. And they use the term hallucinate. They say these programs are hallucinating. I'll give you another example outside of literature. Several weeks ago, a lawyer, lawyers when they submit briefs to the judge, for considering various court issues and cases, they will go back and look at the case law, cases in the past that have a bearing on what's being discussed in this particular court case, right? They do it all the time. They're called briefs, and you cite all these previous cases. Well, the lawyer was lazy. Instead of looking them up himself in the traditional way, he used ChatGPT. And ChatGPT, quote, hallucinated. and made up cases. Yeah, made up cases. So he turned this into the judge. The judge kind of was scratching and says, wait a minute, I've never heard of this case. So the judge looked it up and he found out that the case did not exist and two others didn't exist. And you can imagine that that didn't go over well with the judge. And I don't think he's going to be too thrilled about ruling in favor of this particular lawyer and his client. Do you? I don't. So this is a danger. It could be a danger in your chemistry class. Could be a danger in whatever class. Don't use AI for this stuff. It'd be funny if it wasn't so serious, because we want students to develop their writing skills, their thinking skills. And if you're relying on an AI for you, you're not going to develop them. Okay, that's just the bottom line. Don't use it for our discussion boards. Don't use it when you send me an email asking for an extension. I had a student use ChatGPT to write the email asking for an extension on a paper. I knew immediately there's other characteristics, the way the AI uses vocabulary, the way the AI lays out the logical argument, all kinds of things. And I knew immediately the email was ChatGPT. I emailed him back and said, hey, I'll give you the extension if you write me a request in your own words. So the student redid his email. Don't use ChatGPT. Okay, look at the note there. There will be short exercises concerning thesis creation, paragraph development, writing style, etc. They won't be graded, a lot of these, but you can get extra credit. Let's go. I want all of you to do these exercises. Let's go back up and talk about extra credit. Completing the reading, speaking up in class discussions, and doing other homework assignments will count toward extra credit. For example, we will be doing a number of discussion board forums in Canvas, should be in Canvas. Posting answers in the forums there can help boost your overall grade at the end of the semester. In fact, you can receive up to 4 extra credit points for your overall work. This is 4 points tacked on to your final numerical average in Canvas. Thus, it says, if your calculated grade at the end of the semester is 86, and you do receive those 4 points, then you get an A. You know, there's no pluses and minuses at TCC, so a 90 is as good as a 95 in terms of the final grade, which is an A. So that's good. Or if you have a 67, which is a D, basically failing, you can easily get a C. Now, it says there, toward the end of that paragraph, it talks about the discussion board forums. It also talks about going to the Reading Center, or Reading Right, or whatever they're calling it now. They've changed the name 2 or 3 times in the last year or so. All of you probably know where it is. It's over there in the the E wing of the main building, 2nd floor. Okay, you've probably been there. You probably had an orientation in Comp 1. Since most students have had that orientation by the time they get to Comp 2, I'm not doing an orientation with my Comp 2 classes. All right, and of course you probably know you can get one-on-one tutoring, and you can go in person, or you can do it online. You can make the appointment online. There's a lot of flexibility there, and they will automatically send an email telling me you went to the Writing Center, and I'll have that email, and I'll keep it in a special folder and know, okay, so-and-so has been to the Writing Center 6 times. That's certainly worth some extra credit, isn't it? So, yeah. Now, by the way, again, you know, with the construction schedule kind of being very, quote, fluid, the Reading Writing Center may move at some point during the semester, depending on when the construction people need them to move. They thought they were going to have to move here in January, but apparently not, from what I understand. But of course, when they move, we will try to keep you informed. I'll try. Okay. Is there anything else we need? Let's back up. Let's talk about quizzes just a little bit more. I mentioned we'll be having quizzes practically every class. Let me sip some more water, please. Okay, thank you. And now, if you're sick, you have a technical problem, something with your computer, again, you had a traffic accident, God forbid, let's hope no accidents happen, or some other thing. Let me know. Will I reopen a quiz that you missed? Yes, I will, but please don't abuse that point, because If I get 20 students a day wanting to reopen a quiz, that means 20 students. I have to go into Canvas, click around, and it's just a time sink, and I don't have enough time for things as it is during this semester. So if you really need a quiz open and you have a good reason, not just because you kind of blew it off, let me know. Talk to me, send an email, etc. Now, I will drop, or I've set up Canvas to drop the 2 worst quiz grades. So if you get 2 zeros, they don't count toward your average, or a 10 or a 30, whatever. So keep that in mind. The 2 worst are going to be dropped. Let's see what else we can talk about here. Anything else here? I don't think so. We've already talked about email. Some of the stuff you can just read on your own. Keep up with the reading. Yes, please keep up with the reading. That's critically important. These stories are not that long. You can handle them. All of you know, because you've been at TCC, and all of us have to put this information in our syllabuses, and that is if you're absent 15% and you have a failing grade, then a teacher can, not will, not must, but can drop you if the teacher wants. I don't drop students. It's up to you. Take responsibility for yourself. If your semester's turning out not the way you want it to and you need a fresh start, maybe the coming semester, drop yourself before the drop date. What's the drop date this year? It's at the end of the syllabus, but it's April 11th. And most of you know that after April 11th, you can't drop yourself. And I can't drop you either after April 11th. It's only the dean can drop you. And so I don't know if any of you have had this experience, but when you want to, after that drop date, you've got to pretty much go beg the dean. Maybe cry a little bit. That might be helpful. They don't like to drop students after that date. So just keep that drop date in mind if you need it. Hopefully you will not need it. Now, lateness is another issue here at TCC because a year ago they switched us to an app for attendance, and the app is called Quickly Attendance or something like that. It's built. They've added it into Canvas, and it doesn't have a column for lateness or a code for lateness. So if you come late to class, if I mark you late, I can't do anything officially about it unless I were to say something like, and some teachers do, 3 lates count up to 1 absence, then they have to pick a day and put you down absent for that date. And that's a little crazy, I think, as well. So just don't be late. Now, if you have to be late because job situation that's going to be ongoing, or some other reason, family obligation, picking your child up at school or something, let me know. We can probably work around all that, but just let me know. Tell me what's going on. If you are late, you can see in boldface in the middle of the paragraph, just come into the classroom. And again, let's say you're half an hour late. Let's say you're 50 minutes late. It's better to come in and get something from the class than just to wait outside or not come in at all or not hang out at all. So come to class. I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm not going to call you out or anything. The same thing happened. By the way, when that first essay comes in, I always get some students who don't come to class because they didn't finish their essay. That's kind of crazy too. I'm not going to embarrass you about your essay being late or you not having it ready. I'm not going to call out your name for it. But I don't want you missing class. So on that day, if you are not ready with your essay when it's due, come to class anyway. You'll be all right. Just come on in. Okay, remaining in class. Don't leave. If you need to go to the bathroom, of course, just go. That's fine. But don't go, and I've had students do this, and they still do it sometimes. My throat is just getting a little dry here today. I don't know what it is. But they go out and take a phone call or make a phone call. Maybe they're having a fight with their girlfriend or with boyfriend or whoever. Or maybe there's some upsetting post on social media. I don't know what motivates students, but then they go out. And it's very kind of disrupting. Everyone knows they're just going out for that reason. I've had students actually, I had one student in particular, I remember, got into an argument with his girlfriend, and he was so into the argument, and he was walking back and forth in front of the class, I guess he wasn't thinking that we could all hear him. That wasn't good, kind of embarrassing for him, but also it was very distracting to the class. But in any case, yeah, stay in class unless you need to go to the bathroom or something. Now, on the other hand, if you do have a child care, your kid is sick, or you're going to pick somebody up at the airport, you know, I'm a person too. Life comes at us all. Yeah. Life comes at you fast. I think that was in a commercial somewhere a few years ago. Just tell me ahead of time, and then you can go out and make that phone call, or receive the phone call. If there's some situation that requires it, that's okay, you know. But you should probably tell me, before class is done. Okay, cell phone use. Yeah, I usually forget to turn off my cell phone. Fortunately, I only get scam calls. Nobody loves me to send me a regular call. No, I occasionally my wife will call, but not to tell me she loves me. Some other thing. But I told you I'd have a lot of wife jokes. In any case, so my cell phone might go off if I forget to turn off the ringer. Yeah, and so if yours goes off once in a while, okay, it goes off, yeah, turn it off. Not a big deal, really. But I don't want you using your cell phones or your laptops or your tablets to do social media, texting, shopping, any of that stuff during class. Only have that stuff out there for class-related work. You're going to Canvas, you're getting a copy of the story, Soldier's Home, and you want to look at it on your computer as we talk about it. Although I am going to project it up on the screen, so you should be able to see it in class. Yeah, that's legit stuff, looking up words, but all the other stuff is not. Please, no texting. Whoever it is you're communicating with, there is an old expression, I don't know if you've heard it, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and it's really true. One of the problems with relation, now I'm putting on my dad hat instead of my teacher hat, so you can ignore when I've got my dad hat on. But one of the problems I think with modern relationships a lot is people are in constant contact with each other through their cell phones. Relationship they need time to kind of simmer and rest a little bit, keep separate. Back in the day without cell phones, we couldn't keep in contact all day long, and there was only payphones on my campus. And I remember I had a girlfriend, and I had to find a payphone to call her, and we have to designate a certain time at night that I would call and stuff like that. And but the result is good because everyone kind of needs their space a little bit. Okay, enough dad hat stuff. Okay, again, you don't have to buy into any of that. I'll put my teacher hat back on for a little bit. Okay, so anyway, just be adult about your cell phone. That's all I'm asking. Eating, okay, yes, you guys know we're not supposed to eat in class. They're particular fussy about it, or at least they used to be. I taught in the ESCT building about 6-7 years ago. They were really fussy. They would come by and look. Okay, has he got water on his desk? Yeah, they did. I remember there was one guy in particular kind of spying on me every day, and the other teachers too. But I have to have my water. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, have your something to drink, your coffee, your Coke, your water, whatever you need. Because I'm going to be having water on my desk, just like I'm doing today here as I'm going through this. But eating, yeah, we're not supposed to. And it can be very distracting. Again, I have lots of stories, students bringing in, a slice of pizza, and everyone's hungry, or a Big Mac and fries. Yes, they bring them in, and everyone's smelling it and going, oh my God, I'm hungry. No, don't do that. Now, I will say this. If you want to bring cookies for everybody, or donuts for everybody, or some other snacky treat-like thing for everybody, I won't see anything. I didn't see it, okay? But you got to do it for everybody. Other than that, let's just not eat in the classroom. But, you know that. Okay, we've talked about pretty much most of the stuff we need. There's the office hours again. The schedule is pretty straightforward. There'll be some changes, I'm sure. I'm not going to go through the schedule. I just don't have time, and you probably don't want to sit there and listen to it. I just want to mention the dates at the end here again. You can see the spring break dates. There's 411, the last day to drop the class. Final exams start on 5/2 through and go through 5/8. Our exam is Wednesday, May 8th at 5 o'clock. I hope I got that right. Yeah, I hope I got that right. Okay. In any case, if you have any questions, let me know. The syllabus is going to be there all semester. Why am I scrolling through and giving you a headache? I don't know. I will be trying to get another video done, a shorter video on paragraph stuff that we need to get out of the way. So hopefully it'll be up maybe later tonight or tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning even. So please come back and look for that. And I look forward to meeting all of you, and I think we'll have a good class. So I'll sign off for now. Let me find the controls for this screen capture program. Okay, I think I found it. We're at 50 minutes. Okay, talk to you later, guys.